Okay, so the last bit we're going to do then is this ridge along here. So we're going to select all the edges along here, making sure we don't have those back edges there. Go to move mode and just pull these down somewhat. And we'll do the same with this side here. In fact, we'll leave that side for now. So what we want to do is, this has a kind of stepping edge here. So we only add one in, but if we add another edge in there, and then, well, actually we need to add another edge in, so just hold G and add another one in there. And then if we go to face mode, select those 4 edges there, then to scale outwards on this axis, we can create that lip like that. Just go to move mode and pull that one out there. If you want to do it precisely, you can go to top view, press 4 and just make sure that the distance between these two is the same. Okay, so now we'll go to edge mode and select these and just pull that up. Okay, so this top bit might be looking a little bit too thick, so we'll just go to object mode, select this. I'm just going to hide that top piece here. I'm going to select this face and just extrude this out a little bit, like that, and then unhide those again. Okay, so that looks about right. We're pretty much there with that section. So the next bit we're going to move on to is doing this top half here. So as we can see with the top half, so we're going to cut it off maybe around there and then do this bit as a separate piece. So we will come to edge mode here, again go to insert edge loop tool, and we'll maybe stick a cut around there. And obviously you can tweak that slightly. If you want to pull it down a little bit further, then you can. And then press G to go to insert edge loop mode again. We'll drop another one in there, that lip there. And then use multiple edge loops, set it to 1, and just put an edge loop right in the centre. So we're going to do the same thing we did before, which is to work on kind of half the mesh. So let's delete this set here, and again do duplicate special, make sure it's on the x-axis, and hit apply. Okay, so again we will add in our edge loop for this side section here. Probably slot in about there. In fact, what we'll do is we'll undo that, and I think I'm going to actually separate this top bit off as well. So that's mesh and then extract. And then I will clone this bit here. So Control Shift and D. And we'll do the same on that one as well. And that's because there's quite a lot of detail in this section here, like all this bit down here. It doesn't need to be modelled into this top bit, so that's why I've done that. Oops. So again, edge mode, and then insert edge loop tool. Make sure you're on the right model, of course. And probably we'll stick that about there. And then remember, I'm on this multiple thing here, so that's why I'm moving it afterwards rather than just placing it in the tool itself. So we're going to have a slight extrude there, But then obviously we need to think about where the actual window frame is. So that's that top bit, probably going to be about there. And that's probably going to come about there. In fact, what you can do is use multiple edge loops, set that to 2, apply 2 in, and then go to scale mode and just scale there, and then you know that that's a precise gap between the two. So again, G, undo that, relative distance, and drop one in there. Also, because I've got this slight lip on here, I think I'm just going to add a loop in down here to symbolise where that is. Okay, so we have our rough kind of window shape now. And so the next thing we need to do is actually start modelling in each of these items. So the first thing we can see is the window actually has a bevel to it along here. So let's begin by modelling that in. Okay, so first of all we'll delete that face in the centre there because we don't need that. What we're going to do is use the same technique that we used before, so we use a piping model here and set our subdivisions down to 4, rotate this 90 degrees and then rotate it 45 degrees. And if we just do freeze transforms and then reset transforms, that will get our rotation back to the standard one. So if we go to local and object, you can see it's back to the centre of the model. So we go to our front view, drag this up to here and start positioning this. We can use the transparency mode here to help us. And that will do for now. Now if we look at the picture, it only has bevels in the top 2 corners. So to do those, let's just select these 2 edges here and then just do bevel edge. And we'll get that bevel kind of probably about like that. Doesn't look too bad. The whole thing probably does look a little bit thick. So we'll go to face mode here. Well, obviously it's too thick from that axis. So we will come out of X-ray mode and then just pull this out to here so it's roughly the right kind of thickness. Then if we go to face mode and back to our front view, we can scale this in a little bit and pull that up a touch as well. Now if you're happier, because I'm kind of happier with this one side here over this side, so what I'll probably do is use insert edge loop tool, insert just one edge loop roughly in the centre there and there. And then just delete this side out here. Then I can select the vertices here, and if I use scale, make sure you set to discrete scale. Scale on that one axis, you can straighten those up nicely. And the same here as well. So that's probably about right. And then if I use Control Shift and D, clone that. Then I can pull these in and I can attach those later. Okay, so that's not looking too bad. One thing we'll want to do is insert an edge loop in the centre here, and we'll probably want to bevel that. Well, bevel it and then set our segments down and maybe increase that slightly. And then if we just select those faces there, press W to go to move mode and just pull this out slightly. The overalls is definitely looking too wide from the side, so I'm just going to pull this set in here as well. Then if you want to as well, obviously you can extrude this out again just to get that extra detail in there and match it to the kind of match it to the style it is down the bottom there. Okay, and then as a last little thing, we'll want to make sure that it kind of matches this shape here. So I'm just going to pull these vertices over slightly, right to about there. And that should just about do that for now. If you want to as well, obviously you can just duplicate these real quick. And pull those over to there. Okay, so the next thing we'll do then is add the rest of the detail to these kind of top sections up here. So if we just have a quick look at how they're actually constructed. So we can see we've got kind of two extrusions on the top and the bottom of that piece. So it's up to you how you do this. You could have this as just one piece again, so it might be worth doing that. So if we just combine these together, go to vertex mode, select this whole row, hold shift, right click, merge vertices, then just do merge verts. You can quickly check that, like that. And then we could probably actually just remove this earlier loop that we added in, like so. So we need one loop at the top, one loop at the bottom. So again, I'll go to edge, insert edge loop, use two edges, stick those in, and then go to scale mode and just scale on my green axis, like so. Deselect the back faces here and just extrude those out. Again, it only needs a small extrude. And a slight offset as well. Okay, then if we look at the actual top section of this, we can see it kind of sticks out a little bit like that. So let's just work our way up here. So we'll pull this face kind of down to here, scale this out, and pull this edge out. And then we'll extrude this up. And again, go to edge mode, pull this out a little bit, scale these two out a bit, like so. Might want to just pull that down a bit to make it a little bit more kind of obvious. And then extrude, and this one's quite a straight edge this time, and one more extrude, and the same thing again, just edge mode, and pull these out. Now I'm not too worried about any top detail, so any detail on this top bit here, because the player is always going to kind of be down here anyway. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is make sure this bit here is sealed in, just a bit of a hole there, and add in those shelves. And literally all we're going to use for that, certainly not cylinder, is just a kind of box shape. We'll leave a slight gap between the door, the doors of the cupboard and the walls. And one thing we'll be wanting to think about here is having an actual interior on this as well. So it's not just about the shelves, it's also about just like an inner shell to cover things up. So we've got 4 shelves, so we'll control, we want to duplicate these but with no difference here, so we'll just put that to there, apply, pull that up, so that's not too bad. But now what we can do actually is hide everything except for these. Add in another box. Well, we'll need that box and then these if we're going to use X-ray mode. So I prefer to use hide unselected for that reason actually. And we'll delete the front face on this box. And then if you select all the faces and just do normals reverse, so that means all the normals are facing inwards. You can check this actually by selecting them all and just pressing this FN button here. And as long as those green lines are pointing inwards, you know that they are facing the right way, at least for the purposes of this anyway. Normally you want them poking outwards, but because this is the interior section, that's not what we want. So we'll pull that into there. Just to there. And I'm just going to show all again. Pull this, say, about above the actual door frames, and that down to there. And then pull the back in as well. And then I have to obviously do the same on these objects too. Okay, so that's about all the detail we need on there. The only other thing will be to add stuff like books. One thing we need to do actually is weld these together, so let's just do that. So mesh, combine.